If you're interested in the copper sector, this video is for you. We're using satellite data to understand what's happening in the global copper market by monitoring different mines, or all the copper mines in the world. We've got about 170 here, all the major copper mines in the world. We've got its location, country, the type. And what I mean by monitoring is we're looking at what's actually happening on the mine. So we're able to see the surface of the mine, it's moving, it's expanding, it's going deeper. So we're able to understand these activities using satellite data by two processes. One is InSAR, which is basically like radar. So it's every few days, radar will take an image of this particular mine, and then a few days later we'll take another image and another image, and we basically compare all those images. And when you do that, you'll start to see changes in the mine surface, and that's how we're able to understand of these different activities that are going on through the deformation of the ground, basically. Then what we do is we use a pixel analysis to express that information into the data set that you've got here, so you're able to understand that basically visually and understand it better from looking at it. And so we do this at different time periods. So you've got like 2020 here, and you can see here we've got a number for Q1. So that's this mine, it's Q1, and then if we look at 2021, you can see Q1 for 2021, you can see there's been a change, there's been an increase, the numbers increased here, and what that means is that there's been more activity compared to Q1 in 2020. So if you can compare different quarters and different years to see if the mines are being more productive or less productive, or expanding more or digging down more. You can compare quarters. You can see here Q1, Q2 are quite similar. When you go into Q3, it gets a bit less, and Q4 a bit less again. And then when you look at 2021, you can see that it's actually increased a little bit overall. And you can do this. You can do this going back quite a few years. And you can do this as well for the current year that we've got. So you've got Q1 here and Q2. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do using satellite data, and you can do it quite quickly using satellite data. So you don't actually need to go out there and visit the sites. You don't need to. You're basically working from a trustful source, which the satellite data is in itself as well. And then you can also see once you've got this data of like how much activity is actually happening per quarter, and you can make comparisons about that mine's productivity from one year to the next, from one quarter to the next, or from one mine to the next as well. So for example, if you know they're a company that owns 5 of these mines, then you can see how productive it is overall, or compare it to another company that owns 5 different mines and see how productive they are. And then you can start to see basically the changes in these areas overall. So you can see that how big that change is. And then you can actually get basically a simple sort of, has it increased or decreased from 2020 to 2024. And you can do that at different time periods again. So basically, is it decreased, increased, or has it stayed the same basically? So that's what you can do with satellite data, is that you're able to understand the activities that are actually happening, and without having to actually send people there to have a look at it, or without guessing, or without having to read their reports to understand that there's actual activity happening. Satellite data can also be used for object detection. So if I just click on here, click on anyone, if you scroll down a little bit, where's our big image? Here we go. So this is basically an image, and we've used object detection to basically count all of the trucks and things in here. So we'll just zoom in so we can find some trucks. So these are each label. So you've got a red one and a green one, and we've got any blues, and you've got blues over here. So these represent different pieces of equipment on the mine. So basically, again, we're using another type of satellite data. So we've used InSAR for it. We've used pixel analysis to express that data. Now we're using Earth observation data, which is basically a photograph of what's there of the Earth, and then we're using object detection to detect the different types of minerals, or not minerals, different types of trucks and stuff that are in there. And then you can create a table of like the number of trucks and how much fuel it might use, and estimate the hours of operation and carbon emissions and things like that as well. And so that's one of the things that we do. The different other things that you can do as well. So basically the InSAR analysis is pretty interesting. So these come out as, let's just open this up. And So basically they come out as that's your sort of pixel analysis on top, like an image, and you can see like the red areas and the green areas, they represent different years inside of a mine basically. So let's just pick another one. So some years will be more active than others. So you've got the green one over here, that might represent 2020, the blue one might represent 2021, the red one might represent 2024, for example. The white is basically where there is activity all through the years, so from 2020 to 24, and you can see, or 25, and you can see that the roads start to show visibly where the road network is inside these mines as well. And then you can also look at other types of data here. We've got land surface temperatures, we've got moisture indexes, we've got vegetation index, and that just helps you to understand what if there's a big vegetation change, for example. It might mean that the mine is starting to expand and chopping trees down, for example, which can be done for understanding if the mine's going to be productive, or it can actually be done as well to understand how compliant it is with environmental regulations around its area. Are there more trees dying than expected or outside of the boundary of that type of mine, for example? So yeah, it's just quite a short video, just showing you a little bit about how you can turn an image of a mine, basically, which is over here. How these mines, an image of a mine, you can use to find every single truck and vehicle on there. You can categorize it into its trucks, water trucks, haul trucks, diggers, and all sorts. You can use InSAR data, so this type of information, to understand activity, so basically where these trucks are all going on the mine. You can understand the moisture index, and is it increasing or decreasing, which in itself can be an indicator of some issues. And then you can actually see the activities on those mines. Are they decreasing or increasing, or are they moderate? And that's basically what this data set's all about. So I wanted to just share that with you guys, because it's a pretty interesting way to look at the world. Cheers.